question today we're looking at is, will my pet go to heaven? Hey, I'm Jimmy the Dean. Thanks for asking the question. I think the question could also be understood as, will there be animals in heaven? Let me tackle that one first, and then we'll talk about your pets, because that gets awful close to home, doesn't it? I'm going to give you a hint. I imagine that there will be some form of animals or animals in heaven. First of all, one of the first things to remember is that in the book of Genesis, when we're told about animals being created, the same Hebrew word says that breath of life was put into them that is used. By the way, that's my cat in the background, Speedwell. Speedwell, not now. All that to say, the same Hebrew word that's used for human beings is also used for Speedwell's race, right? So all that to say that means that God has put something in them that makes them a living being. Now that's an important phrase to keep in mind. They're a created order, meaning that they're a little bit different than plants, right? And how that plays out. That's something, we don't have that in the Genesis account of creation, but we have it over animals and human beings. Something about God's being has been placed in them. Now, being a living being doesn't automatically mean that you're what's called fully sentient. That is that we're made in the image of God. Sentient's a word meaning we have full capacities of sovereignty, meaning the ability to originate action, creativity, memory, etc. Deep memory, we call it. So all that to say, there is some kind of order there of the difference between plants, animals, and human beings. What's going down? Is Speedwell still doing his gig? So I love the fact that for the first time ever, my cat's decided to get involved in one of these things. He must be like, preach it, brother. So all that to say, we do know that animals are created order. Now, the next question is, are there other created orders in heaven? Well, we actually know of two others in heaven, the angelic beings and the possibility of the seraphim and the cherubim. So right there, depending on if the cherubim and the seraphim are the same type of created being, you have its possibility of three different other created orders that will be in heaven when human beings appear to be ushered into heaven. So we want to keep that in mind, that heaven is not something that's only been created for human beings. It appears to be the dwelling place of God, and that various created orders could convene there. So I'll give you a hint. More than likely, because of what takes place in the creation of animals, you're going to find them as part of God's kingdom in the future. I think that's pretty exciting stuff. At the last point, so first of all, first point is that they're living beings. Second point is that heaven seems to have multiple created orders in it. Third part is, were animals just created for some utilitarian reason, like food or companionship of sorts on this earth? And when that utility is done, they won't be a part of it anymore. You could say that, except for the fact that in Genesis, we're told that when God made them, he declared, this is good. Now, that's a little bit different than some of the other things that were created that are more utilitarian, like the sun or the moon, or things that help us govern the actual physical realm. Animals seem to have some kind of special place, so I'm going to give you a hint. It's looking good, friends. Now, what's your deeper question of whether or not they'll be my pet, whether or not they'll recognize me, all that? I'm going to have to leave that up to wisdom that's deeper than mine for sure. But I do know this: when it comes to the way that we needed to find deep emotional resonance with other human beings, like with a person in marriage or our animals as part of our emotional support system, we do know this: those things are welcome into heaven, but they take on slightly different other forms. We don't have to have marriage in the same form in heaven, because I think, quite honestly, so much of our emotional needs and etc. are met in such a healthy, beautiful way in heaven. So I know this for sure: whatever is going to be, if and when animals are in heaven, it's going to be a unique, new, fun way to explore what a relationship with them is. Anyway, to your question of, do you think your pet's going to be in heaven? Got a feeling you're in good space there. Hey, thanks for asking, Jimmy the Dean.